Welcome to ADHD Double Dose, a podcast where two grown-ups discuss life after a late ADHD diagnosis. I'm Ashley, and I was diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. I'm joined by the one and only Megan Jeezy,
Hey.
who was also diagnosed with adult ADHD. Come along with us for some ups and downs, a bit of information, and probably some stories you can relate to. It'll be pretty obvious, but we're not trained experts or
Not a doctor.
So don't take anything we say as medical advice. So, Megan, it feels a bit weird this time because we are in the same room recording this podcast. IRL. So we joke that we don't see each other much IRL. Well, right now we're recording a podcast IRL.
In real life, next to each other. I could touch you if I wanted to.
You could. I'd probably have you arrested, but you could do it if you wanted to.
Savage.
It seems a bit weird to have a normal conversation with you and try to sound professional, basically.
You look exactly like you do in your profile picture online, actually.
Well, there we go. What are the chances? Exactly.
You're not catfishing anything.
I didn't lie. Yeah, there were no filters.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're here and we'll try to remember that some people won't see any video. They'll only be listening. But, how have you been since the Christmas special?
Oh, yeah, good. Christmas is over. Thank goodness. I'm so tired.
I thought you were saying Christmas lasts till March.
Yeah, exactly. Like today.
Depends on what we're talking about.
Yeah, if I'm eating pancakes, eating chocolate at 5 a.m, it's Christmas. So, yes, I will be using that for at least another month. But I'm tired.
Yeah, it's a full-on time of year, isn't it? And it all builds up to just one day.
A lot of effort and work for one day.
So much effort for one day.
How was Bali?
Thanks for mentioning Bali. Yeah, Bali was really good because I didn't have to wash a dish. I didn't have to even put a dish away. Everything was done for us. I had a relaxing day with my family and my wife's family, my kids. It was actually better than I thought it would be.
Did Santa come to Bali?
Santa did come to Bali. My kids know that. Do you know the truth about Santa? I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, don't worry. My kids think Santa comes to them. I'll tell you when you're older.
Okay.
But so we gave him some presents before we left, the big ones that we couldn't carry on a plane.
From you or Santa?
From us.
Okay.
Yeah. So they know that there's no Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, they got them from us, some before we left, which they were very excited about getting early. And we gave them a couple more Christmas Day that we could carry on the plane.
Cool.
Actually, my daughter is just big on cash at the moment. She's already at the stage where you give her an envelope and her eyes light up because she thinks there's probably cold, hard cash in here.
Cash is king.
Yeah. I mean, she thinks so. She'd much rather go to Kmart and spend a fortune there than get a pair of socks.
You can get a lot for $20 at Kmart.
This is what I'm learning.
Yeah.
There's another place that she goes to.
Mecca?
Yes, but Lavisa.
Lavisa.
Yeah.
Jewelry.
He's obsessed with it.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, you can get a lot for very little. We did that. My son basically just got a whole lot of Pokemon cards. And we had a good day. If you get used to Bali, though, we'd leave at 11 o'clock to go and swim in the pool. I'd come back and some magic fairy had made my bed, laid my shoes out at the bottom of the bed, and I might have taken 3 or 4 gaming controllers with me because who knows when one will run out of batteries, or die. Some lovely person had laid out my controllers on the bed in a row. I thought, how good is this?
What about a towel animal? Did they make animals out of your towels?
No, do they do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to put in a complaint.
Yeah.
Get me towel animals. But I was impressed with the controllers. But I realized also that by that was probably day 2. By day 6, if I got back at 1 p.m. and the controllers weren't in a row, I'm like, what slackness is this? I haven't even put my controls in a row.
My room's not made up.
Yep. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. It was good. How was your Christmas?
It was good. Just played some games, did lots of eating, did lots of chilling. That's pretty much it.
Nice.
Just eat and sleep.
Yeah. That sounds pretty good to me. I've got to ask though, did your dad get out a Super Soaker?
We actually didn't do any water fights this year. It's the first year we haven't.
Mm.
Yeah. We tried to play a board game. I got my nephew Secret Hitler.
Secret what, sorry?
Secret Hitler. It's
I
a
don't
board
know
game.
this one.
One of you, it's half the people are fascists.
Okay.
Hitler, and then the other people, but it was too hard. It's really political.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, it sounds quite political. Yep.
It was really hard. And then, and then my sister got my uncle, he loves ET. So we had ET Monopoly.
Yep. That sounds
so
pretty
we were
fun.
playing that Boxing Day. Yeah, it was good.
Excellent. That sounds fun. Anything weird happen or
no weirdness. New Year's Eve we went to Fun Fields with the fam. That was good.
Yeah, nice. My kids have been to Fun Fields, but I've never been. What do you do at Fun Fields?
Well, a lot of people do a lot of things, but not me. I just go to the pirate ship.
Okay.
I ride that twice or 3 times. And then I go to Volcano Bay, which is the wave pool.
Nice.
So I just like bob for my life. Yeah. And then that's pretty much all I did. But this time they've got Lazy River.
Okay.
So I lazed around for a few laps. And then they have these cool dodgem cars. Oh, they're so cool.
Okay.
So I did some more stuff, but I don't do the water slides. I'm too old for that, which means I'm too scared.
Yeah.
And I don't. Did you go to water bomb in Bali?
I didn't, but my family did. I am too old to go on water slides too.
But they've got Lazy River.
Yeah. See, I didn't know that. No one told me about Lazy River, but my whole family went and said it was awesome.
It's so fun. But again, I don't do anything but go on Lazy River. I just laze for the whole day.
I mean, that sounds like a good day.
It's pretty good.
The pirate ship, there are some pirate ships that just go like in a semicircle. I've seen them before where some do a full loop.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
Okay, so it wasn't a full loop.
No, but if you sit at the back, your butt comes off the chair. It's so scary. My nephew nearly slid out the side. So we were linking arms like, oh my gosh, we got so much air. And the kids are saying, Auntie Megan, why do you want to do this? Because my eyes are closed the whole time. I have my head down. I can't look.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming, but I love it.
Yeah. See, if you don't go and you stay in your hotel room and just play video games, then you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Also a good day.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Sounds like we each had a good Christmas after the discussion.
What are we talking about today, Daisy?
So what we thought we'd talk about today is ADHD and sleep, which I know is, particularly relevant to both of us, because I think we'd probably say that it's high up there on the list of issues that we have. Would you agree? Yeah. Definitely. I remember that sleep was one of the first things that I thought something's not right here for a long time, to be honest. But at first, I remember the first thing I ever thought I had wrong with me was insomnia, not anything else. This is before I ever went and tried to figure out what was going on. I thought, I've got insomnia because I'd lie there until 3 o'clock in the morning. So sleep's been a big one for me over the journey long before ADHD, but now we sort of know
why.
Yeah, why exactly? What about you? What's your history with sleep?
Same. I've never been a good sleeper. I used to wake mum up all the time. She'd come out, put a movie on, put me on the beanbag and go back to bed. I had really bad nightmares as a kid.
Yep.
I've just never been a good sleeper. So people would always tell me, "Oh, you'd be a good mum because you're used to getting 4 hours of sleep anyway. So it wouldn't disrupt your life much."
It still does disrupt your life.
There's other avenues.
Yeah. Okay. So you remember being little and having sleep problems? Yeah. I think I did too, but I think it became more of a problem as I got older. Probably because if I didn't get much sleep when I was younger, I'd sort of still make it through the day.
Yeah. We had energy back then.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the days. But but as I got older, it was harder to bounce back. But obviously there's a strong link between ADHD and sleep issues in general. So,
Well, I have a stat for you.
oh,
70% of people with ADHD report sleep issues,
sorry, keep going.
according to the National Library of Medicine.
I interrupted you there. What was that stat again?
70% of people with ADHD report sleep issues.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, that's huge. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did write
so
that down.
all good. That means that, yeah, it's relevant to most people who will be listening to this podcast. Yeah, so we'll go through some of the main issues people experience and some of the reasons for that. I realise, though, we always forget segment one.
Yeah.
We just go straight into stuff. So I'm so ADHD. Do you have a funny story for us for the week? Or for the episode? If you don't, that's cool.
Do you have fun?
I do, because I was thinking about this at work because I was bored at work and I thought of one and I wrote it down. Do you want me to tell
I would love
mine?
that.
All right. I have mucked around with my
Actually, I can tell you, I was late to pick up my nephews for fun fields because I got the time wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the time and it's just not registering that it's 8 o'clock.
Right.
And I had to leave my house at 8:30. So when the 8:30 alarm's going off, I'm just reading it as 7:30, even though I don't know, I'm weird with time. I'll look at it, but it just doesn't register the actual time.
Yeah,
Are
it
you
doesn't
like that
sink
at
in.
all? Yeah, it doesn't
Totally.
sink in.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. I'll get my phone out of my pocket 5 times
Yeah.
before I actually absorb
Yeah.
what the time is. Yeah. Yeah. No, totally.
I know I
That's
had to
totally
leave at 8:30, but the 8:30 alarm's going off and I'm like, oh, it's not 8:30 yet.
Yeah.
What time is it? 8:30. Oh, that's okay. I've got time.
Yeah.
I
No,
didn't
you
get
don't.
it. So I
Yeah.
was late.
Okay, fair enough. Did it matter?
No.
No, that's good. Yeah, excellent. All right, so yeah, I've got a story about putting up a netball ring for my daughter that she got for Christmas. So I thought you can get 2 types of netball ring. You can get one that's attached to like a pole that you put sand in the bottom so it doesn't move around, or like water or whatever. But that looks pretty like flimsy. I said, oh, that's not a bit of water. What's that going to do? Because I'm an expert on netball poles. Yeah. So we ended up getting one that was just the ring that you like screw into the wall.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, that will work because then it's attached to the house, not a pole. So we get that, we get it home, and I think, I'll just be able to screw this into a brick wall. And I get out the ladder, I get up the ladder, I measure the right height, and did you know it's a lot harder to screw a massive screw into a brick wall
Into bricks, yeah.
than you'd think? Yeah. So I hadn't planned that very well. I ended up going to Bunnings to buy a drill that I could drill into the brick wall. So I'm thinking, I'm all over this. This is fine. Took it to the counter and the lady said, I don't know why. I must have looked like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Because she goes, what are you drilling into? And I said, brick. And she goes, well, this is only for plaster. And I look at the box and it says plaster drill, do not use on brick. So I went back and I got the brick one. Even then, I got back up the ladder. It took forever to drill a hole in the wall. So what would you normally do in that circumstance?
I mean, I'd give up.
Well, I did. I gave up and I thought, nah, this is not going to work. And then I had an amazing idea. I thought the ladder's almost the right height. I'm going to attach the netball ring to the top of the ladder. And then I've got a really good pole. I don't need to worry about drilling a stupid brick. So I used my new drill to drill a hole in the ladder because then I can attach the netball ring to the ladder. At this stage, my wife comes out to see how things are going, sees a hole in the ladder, not in the wall. So I was doing my best to explain I was on top of things and everything. Anyway, long story short, we've got a ladder half buried in the backyard with a netball ring attached to the top of it. I find out today that my kids have been using it and it's basically facing the other way now because the ladder stayed up. I was good at keeping the ladder up. I buried that thing like you wouldn't believe. So half of the ladder's underground. So that wasn't going anywhere. But my one screw into the metal ladder, the netball ring just spins around every time they hit a shot in. But very good example
worked.
of what you do. It kind of worked, and I thought it was going to work fine. So that's my I'm so ADHD this week.
So when you got the drill and you look at it
Yep.
and it says not for bricks,
Yep.
you just see bricks and go, awesome.
I don't even read it, I don't think. I just think I need a drill, that's a drill.
Yeah.
And that's as far as it goes.
You sound
Yeah.
really handy.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. That's my ADHD story for the week.
But you got there in the end. The kids were playing, so
They were
you're
playing.
welcome.
Yep. It means that we don't actually have a ladder anymore. I'd have to dig it up again. And the ladder's probably more expensive than the pole would have been for the thing. But
That's a good point.
these are all just, minor details. You would also think, after having done I'm so ADHD, 6 times now on this podcast, you'd think at some point I'd think, oh, this would be good for I'm so ADHD.
I don't think that.
No. And you would then think that the next thing is, okay, maybe this is not the best thing to be doing then. Doesn't occur to you.
No.
Yeah. At the time, it just seems like logical.
I'm thinking now, actually, the other night I thought I'm going to write this down. That would be a good thing to say, but I don't even know what that is because I didn't write it down. I forgot.
If you don't write it down.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to hot topic then, which, as we've said, is sleep.
Hot topic.
Yeah. So I've got a few things written down because otherwise I'll never know what to talk about. But do you have anything you wanted to talk about first in terms of sleep and things we should talk about?
Well, I woke up at 12 o'clock today.
That's a good start. Yep.
So yay, sleep.
You had some good sleep,
Yeah.
it sounds like. Yep.
No, not really. I went to bed at 12 o'clock and I woke up at 12 o'clock. So yeah, that's pretty good.
12 hours. Podcast over.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's
I've
what
got
it is.
no
You've got it
problem.
solved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
I found that I'm actually so I get up really early to go to work, and I've found that during this holiday period, if I wake up later, I just chill as I normally would throughout the day, do what I've got to do. Suddenly 7, 8 o'clock, I've got all this energy and motivation. I've been organizing at night and I've been so productive.
Yeah.
I don't have that productivity during the day.
It's weird, isn't it? It's it's like you get bursts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always the wrong time.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into it because that links to the points.
But when I'm working, it's like I come home, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
But I've been getting some stuff done.
Yeah, well done.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Takeaway message from that is just ditch work.
Yeah, pretty much.
Productive, yeah.
I'm trying.
All right. So there's basically 5 or 6 elements to ADHD and sleep that I've written down. Hyperactivity and restlessness is one known cause of sleep issues for obvious reasons, but we'll come back to it. Difficulty regulating attention and impulsivity. Sleep disorders and ADHD, so more likely to have genuine standalone sleep disorders, ADHD medication and sleep. So we'll come back to all these. Sleep hygiene challenges, come back to that too. And we'll finish off with just a bit of sort of the impact that sleep issues can have on you. 2 other things that I've personally experienced that I'll tack on at the end too, because they're known to be related to ADHD. But just as a bit of a sort of introduction, I was reading that, the connection between ADHD and sleep is complex, with ADHD often contributing to a range of sleep disturbances. So, one or more of those sort of 6 things I talked about. And people with ADHD may experience difficulties falling asleep, staying asleep, or getting restful sleep. So we can't win even if we do fall asleep. So number 1, hyperactivity and restlessness. Obviously, I was going to say, so obviously hyperactivity is a trait in one form of ADHD. You were diagnosed with mixed hyperactive and inattentive. So this probably applies to you. Do you feel a bit hyperactive when you're trying to wind down?
I'm just constantly thinking, and I'm thinking stupid things. So I'm either laughing or thinking about things to worry about, or just thinking of things that by the time I realize I'm thinking about something, it's why am I thinking about that? Okay, sleep. And then I'll try and think of sheep or counting or doing something. And then it's like, oh my gosh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. That I thought hyperactivity would be like physical, but you've just described like mental hyperactivity. So I reckon I do have a bit of that as well.
Do you have an inner voice? Like, do you have a voice in your head?
Constant.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And like you, I've always got a song in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm just constantly like talking to myself. Stop it. That's annoying. Okay, let's do it now. Okay, we're going to relax. Okay, you're not relaxing.
Yep.
Why are you moving your feet? Stop.
Yep. 100%. And you can't just switch that off
No.
and go to sleep. Yeah. So you've said it already, but Dr. Ari Tuckman, who's a psychologist and ADHD expert, says individuals with ADHD often find it hard to switch off at night as their minds are in constant motion, making it difficult to relax enough to fall asleep. So that's what you've said. Yeah, I find that I will repeat a phrase over and over again. I can't get it out of my head. Or some new idea will pop into my head that I get genuinely a bit pumped about.
Got to write that down.
Yeah. And then it's 2:00 in the morning before I'm ready to go to sleep. I was going to talk about like possible solutions to these things at the end, but why don't we do it as we go?
Yeah.
What are the ways that you combat that, if you've come up with any?
Well, I try and count. I'll just try and count to 100.
Yep.
And if I'm not asleep, I'll start again.
Yep.
I do get distracted and then realize I'm not counting.
To 100.
No, I can't. So then I'll realize I'll either get bored, think about something else, or forget to count, and I'm just on a tangent. So I try and count. I do have a medication prescribed to me by my doctor that's supposed to help relax my mind. So it's not a sleeping tablet.
Yep.
I would say that helps maybe 10%.
Okay.
And I also take melatonin, which helps maybe 10%.
Yep.
And then I guess I'm just trying to up my sleep hygiene, which I guess we'll talk about later. But the counting's probably the biggest one for me. Like, don't sing, don't think about washing the laundry, just try and count.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it sort of breaks that pattern of thought. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. The thing that I've found, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but I cannot get to sleep at any time now without an AirPod in with a podcast on.
Really?
So I don't, and it happens to work really well for me, because what happens is if I find my mind, overactive, I'll listen to the podcast again.
Brings it back.
Yeah. And then, 9 times out of 10, not this podcast, but a lot of the podcasts get to a boring part, but it's sort of worked well enough that I'm still listening to that in the background, and then I'll go to sleep.
Okay.
But it's probably not, I don't know if psychologists would recommend be like going to sleep with the TV on. I don't know if that's good for you, but that works for me. So,
I listen to rain sounds too, but that's bad because I'll put it on for 40 minutes. So if I'm not asleep by then, I know it's been 40 minutes, and now I'm saying, okay, now I've only got 6 hours to sleep. And then that doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that brings up a point about the anxiety around not sleeping. That's the thing I remember the most before I knew what was going on with this, is the stress of watching the clock and thinking, oh my God. And I used to start catastrophizing about what would happen. Like, oh my God, I've got to go to school tomorrow. I'm not going to sleep the whole night.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I'm not going to sleep the whole night, and I'll die at school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or, I've got a tennis match on. How am I going to run around a tennis court on 2 hours sleep? And, of course you do, but it's not much fun. And the other thing I got, obsessed with, a bit personal, but I thought a lot about the way I would look the next day. Oh my God, you're going to look exhausted. You're going to look like you've got massive circles under your eyes. So this is probably when I was like a late teen. And so as if you're going to go to sleep when they're the thoughts that are going through your head. So
now, just for a visual, Ashley looked like a young American jock when he was in high school. I don't know why. It was the tan, the tipped hair. He just looked like a jock. Were you a bully? You look like you look.
How dare you?
So cool that
How
you
dare
be
you?
a bully.
No, if you told my friends at school that, they'd laugh at the fact that I was cool or a bully. But everyone my age looked like that. Everyone was trying to look like a Backstreet Boy.
I love it.
Yeah. And I was tanned only because I spent so much time on a tennis court. But yeah, it was accidental. yeah, I didn't want to look like a Backstreet Boy who hadn't slept for a week. Yeah, so that the anxiety is the real issue.
That's why I don't look at the clock. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. I never look at the clock. If I get up to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
don't look at the clock.
Yeah, good call. All right. So difficulty regulating attention and impulsivity. So the little blurb I've got here is the brain's ability to focus and regulate attention is impaired in ADHD, as we know, which can disrupt the sleep process. Racing thoughts, impulsive behaviors, and trouble calming the mind are common struggles. So it obviously relates to hyperactivity, but this is more about, I think, not being impulsive and not being able to plan the consequences of going to bed. So I reckon this is more about like staying up late, which I totally do, because you can't really grasp that if you go to bed now, you're only going to get 6 hours sleep because you're doing something fun that's engaging and, not very good at planning things, just living in the moment. So who cares if I've got, an interview tomorrow? I'm having fun now, that kind of thing.
I'm like that. Or if I get home at, say, 9,
Yep.
I'll get ready to go to bed at 10. That's my bedtime. But if I've had no chill time, then I'll watch an hour of my show to wind down.
Yep.
And then, oh my gosh, it's late, but I haven't had chill time. I'm not relaxed yet. So I've got to watch TikTok for an hour.
Yep.
And then then I worry because I've just wasted time. Now I don't have as long to go to sleep and it's all over.
100%. Yeah. So, unsurprisingly, I do that too.
Or I'll be relaxed and then think, I wonder what year John Farnham was born. And I've got to grab my phone and just kind of quickly look at it. And then I get distracted and then it's 12 o'clock. It was the 1st of July, I think.
Okay.
But
yeah. Exactly. You're not fooling anyone that you don't know when John Farnham is.
But it's like, and then suddenly I'll get distracted. I'll look up one other thing, and it's 1 a.m.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. There's that that entitlement of me time, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because I think that is genuinely really important to people with ADHD because you need that time to yourself where you're not masking, you're not, performing for people, where you can truly be yourself. And annoyingly, nighttime is a really good time to get that because, families often in bed or neurotypical people will be
the
asleep.
world's quiet.
Yeah.
So we can hear.
Yes. And you can just do exactly what you want. So if that time's taken away from you, try and you get, what's the word, like defiant.
Yeah.
I'm going to
need it
this time. Yeah. 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 I think that's definitely a real thing too. I guess this is a good time to talk about sleep hygiene then, because part of dealing with that is sleep hygiene. So for those who don't know, sleep hygiene is about the processes and the care you take in preparing for sleep, basically. So off the top of my head, I'm not great at remembering what things are that you should do. But
don't look at your phone for about 2 hours before bed.
Yep.
Have a dark room. Don't have your blinds open. You've got to have it at a good temperature, like 18 to 20 degrees. Don't have it too warm. Don't have any caffeine before bed, within 2 hours of sleep, because I've heard this all my life. Before being diagnosed. That's how you must be looking at your phone. You must be having coffee. I've never drank coffee in my life.
Yep.
I'm not drinking V. I'm just telling you, I'm not sleeping. We must not be exercising. And don't get too excited before bed, because if I'm overstimulated, if I've been laughing, even if we have a podcast late, I can't go to bed because I'm still having fun and I can't wind down. But pretty much it.
Okay, so there are all the things that we should be doing. Now that you mention it, I've been told all that too, but that's one of the things I'll admit I've never really. I maybe try to do it once or twice, and I think this is not for me, and I just don't do it, which doesn't help anything. But have you had any success with that kind of thing?
I like having a cold room, so I've always got my window open, even if it's freezing, like winter. I like the breeze.
Yep.
I do try and stay off my phone, but it's tough. It's hard. I don't drink caffeine, so I think I do the best I can.
Yep. Yeah. See, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly what they're saying here, that people with ADHD will find it harder than neurotypical people to implement those things because of all the things we know about ADHD. It's hard not to be impulsive. It's hard to make yourself not look at your phone
No.
because that's boring.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's no wonder we struggle with those things. But don't you reckon in bigger picture terms, like that's very typical of what ADHDers get told is like, here's the solution. If you do that,
Problem solved.
problem solved. But it's the ADHD that stops you from being able to engage in the solution. It's like when people say, write things down and that'll solve your problem, or use a calendar, that'll solve your time management problems. That's all well and good if you remember that you've written something in a calendar, or that you remember to write things. If I write something down, I don't look at what I've written down.
That's
So
same.
yeah, it's like they're not addressing the step before that.
I would go to the doctors and say, look, I'm so exhausted. I need help because I'm struggling at work.
Yep.
And I'm exhausted. Well, I'm not giving you sleeping tablets.
No, that's
Have you tried this?
I always
Yes.
think that's what you
I don't want sleeping tablets. I'm
No.
just like anything. I don't know. But they just say, well, don't have caffeine. I don't drink coffee. Well, you must not be trying hard enough. I think I'm trying too hard. That's why I can't sleep. That's all I think about now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so true. And
People don't get it. Like, how? Just fall asleep. It's not hard. Just relax. I'm never relax.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure they mean well when they tell you the sleep hygiene stuff, but they need to be able to tell you how to better implement the sleep hygiene stuff, which probably they're getting better at, hopefully, as ADHD awareness sort of improves. I've got to do the quote because it's from Dr. Russell Barclay, my ADHD hero. Yep. So he says, because of difficulties with executive functioning, ADHD individuals often struggle with regulating when and how they rest, which leads to significant sleep deprivation. Dr. Russell Barclay, clinical psychologist and ADHD expert.
An actual expert.
Actual expert. That's right. Trust him, he is an expert. So sleep disorders and ADHD. So this has got the two that I tacked on the end, so that's good. So the blurb here is that people with ADHD are more likely to suffer from certain independent sleep disorders, such as insomnia, sleep apnea, and restless leg syndrome. So these conditions can further impact sleep quality. So yeah, I mean, that's fascinating to me that people with ADHD are more likely to have sleep apnea and restless leg syndrome.
It's about 1 in 3 for sleep apnea or snoring, and 50% of ADHD adults have restless leg syndrome.
Whoa, look at you go.
I know.
You have become a genuine
stat expert.
Yeah.
I get restless legs, not often.
Yep.
But I can't stand it and I can't explain it. It's like they ache, so you've got to just keep moving.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like a cricket. I just rub my legs together.
Yeah. Yeah, you've mentioned that before as like a stimulant. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So restless legs is just that. It's that your legs feel like you've
got to move them or they like ache.
Yeah. Okay. I have experienced that too. Mainly when I was younger, and I've kind of grown out of that, but I know that feeling. But yeah, I really wonder what it is about ADHD that makes you more susceptible to that and to sleep apnea. Because sleep apnea is, I mean, most people know of it as an obstructive throat issue. So essentially your throat collapses so that your airways close, and eventually your brain tells you you're running out of oxygen, so you'll gasp and take a big breath. The first step is snoring, because that's as the your throat sort of starts to close over, and often it gets worse if you leave it untreated. It's been linked a lot to people who are overweight because that puts more pressure on your throat. But there's two types. There's obstructive sleep apnea, which is the throat thing. But there's also central sleep apnea, which is where your brain doesn't tell essentially your body that you need to breathe when you're asleep. So the same thing happens. You'll eventually, another part of your brain goes, remember, not an expert, goes, I'm running out of oxygen, take a breath. So the person will take a breath. So you can have both. So I was diagnosed with sleep apnea long before, when my daughter was born. So that's 12 years ago, and well before any consideration of ADHD. And my sleep study showed that I was waking up. No, I was stopping breathing 31 times an hour. So I was thinking I was sleeping, but you can imagine how I was waking up 31 times every hour.
You're not in that deep REM sleep.
No way. And not only that, you're oxygen deprived
Mhm.
because you're gasping for air. But the interesting part of that is that 1/3 of those was central sleep apnea. So it wasn't that my throat was closing over. It was that my brain was not telling my body to take a breath. And that's more strongly linked to ADHD. So it must be the same part of your brain that doesn't develop, I guess, that causes like executive dysfunction and things like that, that also doesn't tell your body to take a breath. It's
I
quite
feel so
amazing.
defective.
Well, it's hard not to. Yeah.
People just go, all right, good night, and they're
Yeah.
asleep in 5 minutes. They don't have to tell their brain anything, like breathing. I thought that was just,
You'd think that's pretty basic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a superpower, Megan.
no,
ADHD.
ADHD is superpower.
Yeah. No, it's true, isn't it? You do feel like something's wrong. But I mean, they know how to treat that now. I wear a what's it called? A CPAP.
Which
machine.
one, the nose one or the mask?
So I can't wear the nose one because I'm a mouth breather. So if I just have the nose one, I'll just open my mouth and then I have the same problem. So yeah, I wear the mask one. And to be totally honest, because most of mine was obstructive, since I've lost weight, I might technically not need it
I was
anymore.
going to ask.
Yeah, but I still use it because I've got so used to it. And because of those 1/3 that was central, it's not weight related. So
It'd be like Darth Vader.
totally like that. There's all sorts of nicknames for people who wear CPAPs. Hose nose.
Bane.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hose nose.
Yeah.
That's good.
Elephant man. Yeah, but
It hurts.
it does gets me right. It feels.
Hose nose.
Don't you dare start calling me hose nose from now on. But my wife has had to get used to the not so much the sound because
the air in her face.
Yes,
for crying
that's
out
it.
loud.
That's it.
The wind tunnel next to her.
Yeah. The actual machine's pretty quiet now. But if I turn over, she cops like wind, like her hair blows back and all that sort of stuff. So
blow her fringe off.
yeah, exactly. It's been a challenge.
And if it slips a bit, it's just
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Or if it's sometimes like the hose will come off the mask in the middle of that, and I'm like scratching around the floor looking for a hose it's a whole thing. But it stops me from. I wake up feeling better.
good for you.
It's got to be worth something.
Sorry to your wife. I can't do the accent.
Yeah. You've seen Borat.
Yes, of course I've seen Borat.
Good. Okay. Sorry, silly question. So restless legs, you don't have to do anything particular about that.
I didn't know there's anything I could do.
I don't know either.
I'll Google it.
We'll find out if there's, I think somebody at work was telling me that there is medication for it, but it causes other
I got enough.
issues. Yeah. So I don't think they use it unless you really have to.
I've been rubbing magnesium spray on them. Apparently that's supposed to be good, but it's apparently supposed to be good for everything.
Exactly.
So, and for sleeping as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does it do anything? I'm not sure. Because I don't get it often. And I wouldn't say there's anything that gives it. To me, it's just sporadically.
Yeah, okay. So it's random.
Yeah, random. But nothing's helped.
Yeah. And still more evidence of a correct diagnosis.
Yeah. True.
So speaking of medication, ADHD medication and sleep is a well-known issue because, of course, the medication that they use for ADHD is a stimulant-based medication mainly. So it will keep you awake. It'll keep you stimulated and not sleepy, basically. It's less like that in people with ADHD than it would be if you gave a stimulant to someone without ADHD, in that I'll often get sleepy if I've taken my medication. but there's a difference between being sleepy and falling asleep.
Yeah.
We've found as well. But yeah, it can. It's a bit like, I was going to say normal people, a bit like neurotypical people probably find a cup of coffee before bed. So yeah, and kids in particular, I think, are more susceptible to having sleep issues because of the medication they take during the day.
I've got another stat for you.
Oh, yes.
Nightmares are more common in kids with ADHD.
Wow.
That was interesting.
Yeah, okay. Do they know why?
No, I didn't get to that part because I couldn't be bothered researching anymore after I found the stuff. But I had bad nightmares as a kid where I would beg mum for I'm like, I need another dream catcher.
Yeah.
I should get me a dream catcher.
Good way of getting a dream catcher.
Yeah. My room was stuck.
I just found out PlayStation 5. Fuse dreams. Yeah, okay. So that's another thing you have. Right? Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating. See, these are the things that don't seem obvious to me.
Yeah.
Right would be ADHD, but fascinating.
We'll have to Google it.
Yeah. We'll put it in the show notes.
I just get bored.
Yeah. Hey, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we better have a quote, this time from Dr. Thomas Brown, clinical psychologist specialising in ADHD.
I trust him.
Oh, look, he's got doctor in front of his name. Got to be. Stimulant medications commonly used to treat ADHD, such as methylphenidate, which is Ritalin. Is Ritalin the one we don't have in Australia? No, we do have that. And straight amphetamines like Adderall. So I think we don't have Adderall here.
Okay.
Can sometimes interfere with sleep. Taking these medications too late in the day can lead to difficulty sleeping. So
you don't take anything after 4 p.m, do you?
I do, but so I currently take Vyvanse in the morning, which is the slow releasing stimulant, but I find it wears off by 1 o'clock, and unfortunately that's in the middle of my workday, not the end of it. So I take 2 lots of short acting stimulants, one at about 1 o'clock and the other at about 4:30, because they only last a couple of hours. I often don't have the second lot if it's a boring day and I've got nothing I need to do. But yeah, so I have to say though, I don't think that it's had a huge impact on my sleep. I reckon it's out of my system by the time I go to sleep. I still have sleep issues for other reasons, but there haven't been any worse since I started ADHD medication. What about you?
Definitely out of my system by, lunchtime. But when I started ADHD medication, Vyvanse, my sleep was better. I didn't have a song in my head.
Yep.
And then that, I guess I got used to it. And then after a month, it was all gone. So unfortunately, didn't last. But no, it doesn't affect my sleeping.
Yeah.
It's out of my system quite quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. So, yeah, you and I haven't had that problem related to medication. It might be more of a child thing if their bodies they go to bed earlier for a start. And maybe their bodies process it differently. But, certainly one to sort of be aware of. Sleep hygiene challenges we've sort of discussed really, but so I'll just give you the quotes. So good sleep hygiene, and then you've got a stat probably. Might want to give a stat. Good sleep hygiene is often harder to maintain for those with ADHD. For instance, inconsistent sleep schedules, excessive screen time, or irregular routines can disrupt the natural sleep cycle. And the quote from Dr. Stephanie Sarkis, psychologist and ADHD specialist. Inconsistent sleep routines are common in people with ADHD. It's easy for them to fall into patterns of staying up too late or sleeping at irregular hours, which only exacerbates sleep issues. Actually, that it reminds me of if I'm left to my own devices, like school holidays when I was at school, uni holidays when I was at uni. Unfortunately, I don't get long holidays now, but I would really quickly fall into a pattern of going to bed at 3 a.m., getting up at midday.
Same. I'm there now.
Yeah. I don't know why that is, but yeah, it must be an ADHD thing too, the routine.
ADHD brains are shown to release melatonin 1 or 2 hours later than neurotypical people.
Wow.
How about that?
How about that? Yeah, catch me outside.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, no, that would be why.
And our circadian rhythm's different than neurotypical people. So yeah, I think we're like night owls.
Yeah.
We do better at night. Like I said, I've now been organising the house at 8 p.m.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it?
I don't get it.
I don't either. But yeah, it's Yeah, it is fascinating. Does melatonin help for you?
It helps a little bit.
Mm.
It definitely, I think it would help me fall asleep, not stay asleep or go back to sleep.
Interesting.
But I think it slightly helps me fall asleep.
Yeah, because I've tried that too, and I still take it sometimes. I find that there's a real window where I do genuinely get sleepy.
But if you don't go to sleep right at that time,
Yeah, then that's the problem.
Yeah.
If I want to beat the melatonin and keep video gaming, I can. So it's not really effective for me. As soon as there's a choice, yeah.
But why? We want to go to sleep.
Because
Why?
I think for the reasons that we've talked about, I think we're not good at working out that that's what we should do.
Because I'll be like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, this part in the movie is really good, so I'm just going to finish this part.
Yeah.
And that's 1 a.m. And now I'm wide awake. The melatonin's worn off.
Yeah. I think it's that we genuinely can't see the consequences
of our own actions.
Yeah, it's true. They don't feel real to us because they're not like right in that moment. I'm like that all the time. And each night I think, right, tonight we'll go to bed at a reasonable time. Does that ever happen? No, because it's not that time.
And it's boring.
It's boring.
But I'm always like, future Megan's problem.
Yeah.
And future Megan comes and she's angry.
Yeah.
And cranky and tired.
100%. Are you saying, Megan, that it has an impact on your daily functioning?
It does on my cognitive function, like attention, learning, and memory. Yes, it does. Right. And I'm cranky.
Yeah. Strange you should say that because so does Dr. Judith Owens, Director of Sleep Medicine at Boston Children's Hospital. So she says lack of proper sleep can exacerbate ADHD symptoms, making it even harder to focus, control impulses, and regulate emotions. So this creates a vicious cycle where poor sleep leads to worse ADHD symptoms, which in turn leads to worse sleep. So it's almost that can't win.
And sleep is so important for physical health and mental health.
Yeah.
It's so important. And I love sleep. And I'm so happy when I'm sleeping, but it's so hard to prioritize when I'm going to get FOMO because a movie's on now and I could record it. But I don't want it. I want to watch it live.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And again, it's about being, stimulated in the moment by something that overrides any other decision making. It's all scarily close to home, isn't it? When you think about it that way.
I've got another stat for you.
Oh, please, go for it.
It's on my list.
Yep.
Adults with ADHD, on average, sleep 1 to 2 hours less than a neurotypical person.
Right. That makes sense. Fact.
Yeah. And adults with narcolepsy are twice as likely to have ADHD.
Right.
You know that?
I didn't.
Hot fact.
Okay. I do know it now. Hot fact on hot topic.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks. That's all I got.
I'm going to expect this every
Don't worry, I've got them lined up ready to go. Take me to a trivia night.
Oh my God, totally.
On Spice Girls.
Yeah.
If it's the 90s, I've got very niche.
Spice Girls, Jellyfish, or
John Farnham.
Or ADHD and sleep.
This time I'm playing to it.
Still my favorite. I used to listen to that before tennis matches.
It's such a hot track.
Pumped up, yeah. Yeah. See, we're getting the visuals to go with the songs. That's awesome.
I do always do a shimmy. Do you know I'm very shy? So it's weird. I'm looking at
right.
I'm so shy. So I'm fidgeting so much. I mean, I do it anyway. But I'm so shy. I think, people say, oh, but you're so happy and bubbly at work. I am because I'm working and I'm playing a character. I'm the helpful, receptionist or, helpful customer service agent. And when I'm at home,
you can't do that.
No, I've got no customer service left to give because I'm over it. But I'm really not as outgoing as people think I am. I'm quite shy.
And that I reckon too that is why people can't understand when you say, no, I don't want to go out tonight. I'd like to sit down and on the couch and do nothing because they think that doesn't fit with our personality.
Because I can't.
But it actually does. Yeah.
But that's because I'm at work. And I have to be because I don't have a choice. And if I've got the choice, I want to be at home in my pajamas.
And being like that, being fun and up,
it's exhausting.
Takes more out of us than some other people.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've been so social this week, Christmas, Boxing Day, that today.
King's birthday.
Yeah. I had 12 hours sleep and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I needed it. I just need to stay in bed and not talk to anybody.
Exactly. It's hard, isn't it? I'm like that when I get home from work and, my poor kids, I I can't wait to hear about their day. I love hearing about their day and everything, but I'll walk in the door frazzled.
Dad.
Yeah. And both of them will want to tell me their whole day straight away, which again, I
Well,
want to hear,
Yeah.
but I just need that 10 minutes to
Switch.
gather my thoughts first. So in fact, this is not related to sleep, but the psychologist that essentially diagnosed me with ADHD, like, came up with a strategy where I sit in the car for 10, I'm so good at sitting in cars.
Same.
Sit in the car for 10 minutes and do that unwinding before I go in.
Do you know I do that
I'm
anyway?
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. You learn what to do without being told.
Because I've been at work, I'm driving, and I'm still in work mode, and I'm still driving. So I've got to stop and not be working, not be driving before I enter the house. So I'm often in my car for 10 minutes just.
It's good because it focuses your attention, doesn't it? Because it's sealed off. You're in like a little cave or a box almost.
Or a Faraday cage in case there's an EMP.
I don't know what those words mean. What's a Faraday cage?
We'll talk about prepping another day.
Okay.
Doomsday prepping.
Oh, nice. All right. I thought it had something to do with fatbergs. All right. We'll talk about that another day.
Okay. Because you've actually experienced a fatberg and we forgot to talk about that.
I battled a fatberg and the fatberg won until I called an actual plumber. But I was so annoyed. We'll come back to fatbergs. All right. Just in summary with the info, ADHD and sleep are inextricably connected, as we've now sort of shown, with sleep disturbances either directly caused by or exacerbated by ADHD symptoms. Their advice is understanding and addressing these sleep challenges can greatly improve the quality of sleep for individuals with ADHD. Effective management, such as adjusting medication, improving sleep hygiene, doesn't say how again, and using behavioral strategies, can help people with ADHD achieve better sleep and manage their sleep symptoms more effectively.
Just don't think about Joe Exotic when you're sleeping.
Exactly.
And how funny his music videos are.
Yes.
That's pretty much the hot tip that I would give you all.
Tiger King.
Oh, yeah. I wrote to him in prison because I wanted a letter for my nephew's Christmas present.
Right.
But he changed prisons. He got moved. So now I can't write
He
back.
needs to be on Cameo. He could do that from
True.
Prison. He could just take some footage and send it to you next.
His songs are so good though. I saw a tiger and the tiger saw me or something like that. And it's not his voice. He just pretends it's his voice.
I'm not familiar with his work, but I'll look it up.
Can you watch it?
Yeah, I can.
Please. Carol Baskin.
All right. Killed him.
Can't convince me that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok? Oh, yeah, you're on TikTok.
I was. Now I'm an Instagram Reels, which is the same thing, but I can tell people I don't use TikTok.
Oh, so you're better than me.
No judgment. It's when people told me you're watching too much TikTok. Now I can say, no, I don't watch it at all. All right. So we would normally move on now to impulsivity, proclivity.
I'm not ready.
No, I haven't prepared anything either. What I have prepared, though, is it was pretty impulsive, but our good friends at the You're a Good Kid podcast are going live with their podcast in January. So you and I thought, hey, we appreciate our getting to 100 now regular listeners. So we can actually wave to you now. Thank you for everyone who has listened to ADHD podcast, because Double Dose podcast, because each of you is one person we thought would never listen to this podcast. So we really do appreciate it. So we're going to do, though, a bit of a promotion drive. We'll try and see if we can spread the good word of ADHD.
Yeah.
That sounded way too preachy.
Oh my God, sorry, I just thought of a photo shoot idea. I'm Rose and you're Jack, and we're at the front of the Titanic, and so we're spreading the word of ADHD with our open arms.
Nice. And I'll just go like that.
We should do an album. That's our album cover.
Yeah, that would work really well. Okay, we'll steal that. Yeah. All right, but as part of that, we talked about getting a sponsor for the podcast, because of course we need a sponsor. Yep. One of which was KFC. We thought would be a good sponsor. We did very quickly. This is how creative we can be. Very quickly came up with some slogans. If KFC decided they would like to sponsor the ADHD Double Dose podcast. So I'll just read out. Well, I'll read out all of them. Let's be honest. Forgotten what you came in this room for? It was definitely a Zinger burger. Now available at KFC. This one's from Megan. This is good. ADHD is a roller coaster, but KFC is a path straight to satisfaction. Hashtag KFC. Oh, this is gold too. You came up with 2, dare I say it, zingers in a row. My brain is fried, but KFC chicken is always succulent. Nice.
That's probably the best thing I've ever said.
That's up there. That's very clever. Yeah. I'm so glad we've got a written record of this. All right. There's nothing impulsive about KFC. Well planned, well thought out, dopamine for your hunger. Yeah. Got time blindness? Open your eyes to our wicked wings. Clear as day. Oh, no, I forgot this one was here. Gabor got you down? Our original recipe prefers Russell Buffet. Yep. So KFC, if you'd like us to come up with some other
slogans,
amazing slogans like that, then reach out at ADHD Double Dose.
No, we can be bought. Like, I'm happy to just have a few zingers. Now, I went to KFC yesterday. They didn't have the Mountain Dew slushie that I wanted because their slushie machine was defrosting.
Right.
I don't know what that means. I would have been happy with just the chunk of ice.
Yep.
I did get a Mountain Dew can for my $1, and I don't drink Mountain Dew.
Okay.
So I don't have anything to do with it. But if KFC wants to buy my love again, just get me a $1 slushie. That's fine.
That's right.
I'm happy to shout out KFC.
Yeah.
Love you so much.
Exactly. So I thought those were very
KFC is a great idea. If they want to sponsor us, come.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Excellent. All right. That has taken us to an hour. Listen to the people. Why don't I quickly check if we got any?
Yeah, did we?
Well, we did the previous week that we were going to do this time. So let me just see if I can even remember the login details. 2 emails.
2 emails.
To ADHDDoubleDose@gmail.com. So let's go with Erin first. So you'll recall we talked about how much we like couch time.
Love it.
Because it's relaxing, don't have to do anything. And we said, is it an ADHD thing or is it just an everyone thing? Yeah. Well, Erin says, no, that's what I said back to Erin. Hold for visual. Erin says, hi guys, long time listener, first time writer. Thank you, Erin. I'm undiagnosed anything, but long time canceller of plans and lover of couch time. Love your podcast and find it amusing. Keep debunking those myths.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Erin, for a genuine question or a genuine comment. So,
First email.
So, Erin's clearly saying that she likes cancelling plans and couch time.
I respect that, Erin.
Yeah. So, that might just be an us thing.
Yeah.
And who can argue with that?
And then?
Yeah. So, and then we got one from I won't give out the surname, but just in case, but from John.
Hi, John.
Hello, John. Thank you for sending us our second ever email. And John's really got into it. There's quite a lot of information here. So we might just go for, I'll read the whole thing and we'll work out what we're going to answer or not. So, hi, Ashley and Megan. Really enjoying the show. Oh, thank you. Just some basic questions on your experience of your diagnosis. Was it a simple process or an extended one? Were the results definitive? Is there an ADHD spectrum? Are any biological tests done? E.g., can dopamine levels be easily measured?
Oh,
wow. Okay. So yeah, they're not basic questions, I reckon. I reckon they're good questions and detailed questions. So we can answer them quickly though. Did you think your diagnosis the process was simple or extended or?
I would say, John, maybe go back and listen to our first episode, but we didn't go into as much detail. But look, I would say it's quite an easy process. A good starting point maybe would be talking to your GP, possibly for a referral. I found it pretty easy, I guess. What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, I found it once I knew what the path was. Which, as Megan says, GP will tell you all about. I found it pretty smooth. Had to wait a long time for an appointment. But once the ball was rolling, then it was pretty straightforward. So yeah, I'd say the process was pretty simple. Were the results definitive? I mean, I think they were as definitive as they could be. You can be, in my case, I think I scored like really quite highly on a lot of the inattentive stuff. So I remember my report didn't say anything like, oh, borderline or like questionable diagnosis. It just said, yeah, it's conclusive. But I guess as conclusive as you can be with questionnaires. What about yours?
I mean, mine was pretty cut and dry, really. It was just tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, you went full ADHD.
Yeah, I went full ADHD.
Yeah. So in that sense, I guess it's definitive. But yeah, I know what you mean about a spectrum. I guess they'll probably find out there is, because there's got to be a cutoff somewhere.
Yeah.
And also, people definitely have more extreme symptoms than others. So yeah, it must be a spectrum. But I'm a bit careful about saying that though, because that's where you get the everyone's a little bit ADHD. Yeah. And that's when you get people who aren't diagnosed with ADHD saying that when they forget their keys once in 10 years, that's their ADHD. Yep. So I reckon
we all do it.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm personally don't like the idea that it's a spectrum and that everyone's a little bit on.
Yeah.
But I reckon once you're on it, then once you're diagnosed with it, then you've crossed that threshold, and yes, there's a spectrum after that.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah, cool. There was another question.
Dopamine levels.
Yeah, any biological tests can be done. I assume not, because I reckon otherwise they do them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to your... we're not doctors. I don't know how you would measure dopamine levels. I know you can measure genetic tests that show what your like dopamine production is likely to be like, but I don't think that determines if you've got ADHD. They also do MRIs, and I think it's not conclusive. Like, I think if they do MRIs of people with known ADHD, yeah, that's enough of that. Known ADHD, then their brains show differences.
Yeah.
But you can have ADHD. Sorry, you can have those differences and not have ADHD.
And I'm not paying for him to do his MRI to prove. Great question.
Yeah, very good question.
Really good question.
And
thanks, John.
Yeah, more important than the questions, second email.
Email.
We're on fire. All right.
Appreciate your emails. Keep them coming in.
Thank you very much. Make contact with us at the usual places. And we'll see you in you'll see and hear from us in a couple